Here we are. I'm talking about the cases that I asked Jay Clayton, as Commissioner of the SEC, Chair of the SEC, to recuse himself from. Is in 1999, the MNAT.com law firm merged the learning company owned by Mitt Romney, Bain Capital, and Thomas Lee Partners, along with others. That was initiated by Goldman Sachs getting Bain Capital and Mitt Romney and Thomas Lee Partners involved in the learning company to merge with Mattel, which wound up costing an instant catastrophic loss of $4 billion. Right? At the same time in 1999, Goldman Sachs took my company, eToys.com, that I was appointed the CEO of, the head executive of, in 2001. When they were in bankruptcy. The plan of MNAT, not disclosing that it worked with Mattel and Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs, was for MNAT to sell eToys to Bain Capital for $5.4 million. In 1999, Goldman Sachs took eToys public and it went to as high as $85 a share, but eToys only got less than $20 a share in what's called a pump and dump spinning scheme, where Goldman Sachs gave the stock to handpicks, and those handpicks got it at $20 a share, and they spun back half of their windfall profits to Goldman Sachs. That's how it's a spinning scheme. Goldman Sachs did not get prosecuted for that type of stuff like Merrill Lynch and others did, because I had authorized suing Goldman Sachs. Unfortunately, MNAT nominated their partner in crime, Paul Traub, who worked for Mitt Romney at Stage Stores, to be the one to sue Goldman Sachs. And MNAT was lying about and concealing the fact that MNAT was simultaneously representing Goldman Sachs when it was representing me and eToys suing Goldman Sachs. So in essence, Goldman Sachs sued Goldman Sachs, and they kept the case intentionally open for 13 years, did not close the case until 2013 because they didn't want it to be settled while Romney was running for president. After Romney lost, they settled the case, and get this, the New York Supreme Court of Appeals said we could go forward with suing Goldman Sachs as a fiduciary, and then they rushed to settle it for $7.5 million. And another hidden fact is, remember, Romney destroyed his Olympic records and his staff crushed the hard drives for his governorship. MNAT secretly had the books and records of eToys destroyed early in the case, which helped Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs do their frauds against eToys and Fingerhut. And then Paul Traub, partners of Tom Petter's Ponzi, bought Fingerhut with the Ponzi Munzies, and then Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs put $50 million into Fingerhut, which the feds did not seize like they did Polaroid. They did seize Polaroid, but they gave it back to Paul Traub for $83 million with his partners, Gordon Brothers, and then they announced, dig this, right? They announced right after Paul Traub is made partners with Gordon Brothers, that they have a $2 billion license deal that nobody mentioned during the bankruptcy case, which, by the way, Polaroid was sold to the second highest bidder. Lynn Tilton and Ritchie Capital wanted to outbid Paul Traub and Gordon Brothers for Polaroid, but the judge refused to let them bid. In the meantime, the guy who was the receiver of the Tom Petter's Ponzi was Doug Kelly, who also happened to be Tom Petter's lawyer. I mean, these guys just pull these stunts everywhere in the world. So MNAT nominated Paul Traub to be the one to sue Goldman Sachs. And the issue about that is MNAT was doing that while it was lying and concealing that it was Goldman Sachs' attorney. So Goldman Sachs' attorney got to pick its own hand-picked prosecutor, and Paul Traub was partners with Mark Dreyer, fraudster, who's doing 20 years in jail, Tom Petter's fraudster, who's doing 50 years in jail, and Paul Traub was working 1031 Okun Tax Group, while his partner, ex-partner, moved over and became the representative of the trustee and the creditors in 1031 Tax Group bankruptcy. They just pull these stunts everywhere they go, pretending to be opponents, which is against the law. But this is how they escape it, people. Cone Connolly was the federal prosecutor in Delaware after I reported the $1 million bribe they offered me when I started getting tens of millions of dollars of bids in eToys, that hurt Mitt Romney's thing of getting eToys for free. So they offered me the bribe, I turned it down and reported it, and then Combe Connolly became the U.S. attorney. Well, Combe Connolly was an M&AT partner. So Combe Connolly refused to prosecute M&AT, but he never disclosed that he was a partner of M&AT when he was refusing to prosecute. So that means the case is still open. So I asked Jay Clayton, actually I sued Trump and Jay Clayton for Jay Clayton not to be head of the SEC commission, and the clerk of court refused to put it in the record. Then what happened was Trump got Jay Clayton confirmed and also made Combe Connolly a crooked federal prosecutor who he knows, because he got the brief, the SEC got the brief, the FBI got the brief, and the DOJ got the brief, that Combe Connolly was a corrupt federal prosecutor, and they still made this guy a judge. And the FBI called me up and threatened me if I don't back off that they're going to prosecute me. This is the bullshit world we live in. And this is the thing that Felix Salmon is talking about at Axios, about lack of corporate accountability. The thing is, not even Felix has any idea how bad it really is, folks. More stuff is coming. I sent a demand letter to Jay Clayton to stop the bullshit and appoint an independent prosecutor. He's chose not to respond, so I'm going to escalate the matter to courts to order him to respond. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. There's so many crimes, 200 crimes here, that once it starts, dominoes are going to fall all over the place. M&AT law firm's going to close. Paul Traub's going to go to jail. Mitt Romney's going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. And Bain Capital and Goldman Sachs are probably going to get fined $1 billion and have to give me my eToys company back and the people that they defrauded $1 billion. Right? That's if there's any semblance of justice in this world. Toys R Us is closed because nobody listened to me. Back in 2013, we stopped Toys R Us from going public, and I warned everybody then that Toys R Us would go bankruptcy, but not even I considered that they would have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to kill Toys R Us. We can bring it back, folks. I need some help. Get the word out. Thank you.